Hello, my friends. How are you? It's been a while since I've been here. I'm glad to be back. Still feeling a little not up to speed, but we're here. Those of you that don't know, I got my second round of COVID. I had it almost exactly to the day a year ago. So I'm not really complaining, but it still kicks you in the butt and makes you super tired. Other than that, I'm good. So I'm happy to be here with you tonight. I've been talking a lot about using the digital art that comes with Close to My Heart, and I thought tonight we would show you, what do you do with it? Why is it cool? Why do I love it? All right, so the first thing I want to show you is, this is, oh, I need to open it. This is the paper pack, okay? So this is one way, if you don't have a Cricut, Close to My Heart offers this. This is probably one of my favorite products from Close to My Heart. It's the paper packet in the sticker set. Now, as I'm saying that, I want to be sure that it's still here, because these things sell out so quickly. So if this is, let me make sure it's still here before I get you all excited, and you'll be really mad at me. Okay, the workshop kit is still here, but I don't think the sticker sheet is. But we can talk about that. So the workshop kit comes with a sticker sheet. So that's really cool, right? Well, what if, again, as I told you, things sell out and we don't have it? So what do? Well, we own Cricuts, I'm assuming. So the reason that you follow me is because we like to use Cricut. So you can get this from the download and create your own sticker sheet or your own titles or all your own stuff. Hey, Jean, welcome. So let's bring you into my computer for a bit. All right, so this is where I was looking to see if this is here, and I don't see the sticker sheet. Let me double check. I should have looked at this earlier, and I'm sorry, but I didn't. It is called Cape Cod Sticker Sheet. Let me just double check. Oh, it is still there. Phew! Gosh, I would have felt bad if it wasn't. So this is what I was just talking about. It comes with this great pattern paper, 6 sheets, and this sticker sheet, okay? So that's one thing. Hi, Marianne, and I like to start with that each month. The Cape Cod collection is one of my favorites, and then you can add the cardstock too if you think you're going to need some more layouts. So that's one way. Or you can decide, you know what, I love this. I am going to go with the Scrapbook kit and get all the parts. What we're talking about tonight, though, is the digital art collection. And it's kind of daunting, and it looks a little funky when you think, okay, I want this, it's $9.95, what am I getting? You're actually going to get SVGs that you're going to download and save to your computer. Now remember, an SVG is a file that has cut lines in it, and it tells Cricut what to do with it. It stands for Scalable Vector Graphic, which means nothing more than SVG does to us. But basically, it's a bunch of shapes with colors, and it tells Cricut how to cut them out. All right? Okay, so we're going to, when you purchase this one, you're going to say add to the cart. And let me sign in so I can show you what it looks like. When you sign in, sure you sign in as yourself, and you look up here at your account, you're going to come over here to where it says your digital library. And in your digital library is all the, you see I like these, all the digital art collections I've had. I like them a lot. If you have been with Close to My Heart or Cricut since the cows came home, you're going to remember these used to be cartridges that we would get. We would buy the cartridge. It was a lot more money than $9.95, but we would get all these images. So that's basically what this is. You buy it. It ends up in your digital library. Hey, Bonnie, glad you're here. So I bought the digital art collection. I'm going to say download. It's going to save it to somewhere on my computer. That's always a challenge. You're going to have to remember where it saves it. And then you're going to come back to it later. So I'm going to do this. Even though I've already done it, I'm going to do it again so that you can see. So I'm going to say save. Notice it says zip after it. I'm on a Mac right now. PC does the same thing. On a Mac, you double click. On a PC, you're going to right click on it and you're going to say ignore what you see behind you. That's my, I'm just in Design Space right now. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to go to my desktop because that's where we just did it, which my desktop is a mess, but there is the digital art collection now unzipped. This is what it looks like zipped up. After I double click on it, it saves it in the same place, and that's what it looks like. And now each one of these is an SVG. If you go to karamiller.com and you look right here, this very first blog post, you click on that, I give you the step-by-step of what I just did. It tells you what to do, how to purchase it, what you're going to get. It's all right here on the blog. Just karamiller.com, okay? Tells you what we're going to be actually doing here in Design Space. Okay, so we've downloaded it, we've saved it to our computer, we remember where it is. We're going to go open up Design Space. Pretend you don't see any of this stuff right now. Let me move this out of the way. We'll explain this in a minute. I just wanted to have it ready for you when you got here. Okay, pretend I have a little space over here to work with. I'm going to say upload. I'm going to upload an image. I'm going to go to where I just saved that on my desktop. Cape Cod Digital Art Collection. I'm going to double click on that. And these are all the images that I downloaded and unzipped. These are all the various images that came in that. So let's say I want this starfish. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to say open. Cricut's going to bring it on in. I'm going to say upload. And now I have the starfish, and I also uploaded the chair. We're going to talk about this in a minute. So let's just grab the starfish so it's super simple. Not a lot of complicated things to worry about. And we're going to look. Our starfish actually has 2 layers. It's going to give us this look, and it comes in at 2.5 inches, but I can make it any size I want. I've got the top layer and the bottom layer. Cricut's going to cut both of those out, and I'm going to put them together to create the starfish. Okay? So it's just like the sticker, but it's one I'm going to create, and I'm looking to see, oh, there is a starfish. Let me show you. In here, there's an itty bitty little starfish. See it right there? So that's the only option I would have with the sticker, but I could say, you know what, I love that starfish. I love him, but I want to use him a lot. I need 5 of them. Okay, well, I'm going to go into Design Space, and I'm going to make 5 starfish. Okay? All right, so let me get rid of him for a second. So now let's talk about what's this other thing that you see sitting here. When I talk to you about scrapbooking, I talk about using my simples. And my simples are basically a photo mat put together like you were looking at a sketch. So you might look at a photo sketch, a layout sketch, and think, oh, I like that, but where do the photos go together and what size are they in? Oh, I want a double mat with that. And you get out the ruler and you get a headache, right? All right, we keep it simple. So I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to get rid of this because we're only going to work with one. This particular simple comes in a 2-page layout. If you're looking for this, you will find this at karamiller.com, right? And it'll say Shop Simples, and you'll go in there. Those of you that are in Inspire, you already have this one, so don't go buy it. Inspire is my monthly membership for scrapbookers. So Inspire's, you already have this one. It's right here. If you're watching this and you're not an Inspire and you want to make this, You click on that, you'll get the Simple that will help you make this layout. Okay? All right, cool. Back into Cricut. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this one over here because we're only going to do one tonight. And this I popped in here because it's a 12 by 12. I want to see what this is going to look like. I actually want to build this layout in here. So this is what the Simple actually is. It's two 4 by 6s. Notice they come with the size on them, but you don't, if I just leave this like this, Cricut's going to try and cut those letters out, and I don't want it to do that. And I want this to be, it tells me what size these photos are, right? So now I don't have to crop them or do anything. I just need two 4 by 6 photos. Well, what if you're looking at this and going, yeah, that's cool, but my photos are horizontal, they're not vertical. What shall I do? First things first, I want to mess with this Simple a little bit. I don't want Cricut to cut those out because those are just guides for me, so I know what to do with them. There's a couple of different things you can do with them. You can simply turn off your eyeball over here and not have to worry about them ever again. Turn them back on. Or I like this new tool that Cricut gave us. If I click on them and I come up here to the operation and I tell Cricut I want it to be a guide, now it doesn't do, Cricut doesn't do anything with it, but it keeps it as a guide. So now I know. But one more thing I need to do, because I want to keep it here. I don't want that 4 by 6 just floating aimlessly around on the page. So I'm going to select the top layer of the Simple and the 4 by 6, and I'm going to tell Cricut attach it. That just says keep those two babies together, regardless of where we go. Just keep them together. Nothing's going to happen with this, but I don't want it just floating aimlessly around my page. So when I move this, they come as a unit now. All right. This is a shadow layer. Many of us like double mats on our photos. So that's what that's going to allow for us. Cricut's going to cut this out of one color. I suggest white. And then it's going to cut your mat out of a different color. I have mine set to gray, but it could be black. It could be one of the blues in that paper pack. It could be sand color. Whatever you think is going to work for your layout with your photos. All right, so let's get you guys back together again. And let's see what this layout's going to look like. Turn you back on. Come on. That's my 12 by 12. Remember, Cricut can't cut 12 by 12. That's why this has this, oh my gosh, it's a scary exclamation point, red, danger. Click on that. And it will tell you the image is too large because it's 12 by 12. It can't cut that big. Well, I don't want you to cut out 12 by 12. I already have a paper that's that size. So I just want you here to help me figure out what my layout's going to look like. All right? So when I go to cut, I'm just going to turn you off. I'm going to send this over to the cut screen. Now that I've done that little bit of work. Hey, Kathy, this is my top layer. Notice my guides are nowhere to be found because, well, they're guides. And then here's my shadow layer. Cricut's going to cut that out a second load of the mat. All right, but come on back. I'm going to do some more work before I do that. I'm going to turn you back on. And I want to show you some inspiration. I've been talking to my Inspire people, the people that are in my membership, about where these inspiration for layouts come from. Often they'll come from a close to my heart layout that I saw or somebody else's layout. And I do not like to measure. It makes my head hurt. So I build it here and let Cricut do the measuring. My mat's going to be just the right size to fit around my Cricut. I can figure out where it's going to go on the page without measuring how far down it goes. I can do all those things using Design Space. Let me bring this over and move you over a little. Okay. This is one, this is now discontinued. It's Make It From the Heart, which is one of the volumes of idea books that Close to My Heart offers. But here, this is one of the older ones. And let me zoom you in so that you can actually see what we're looking at here. All right. So see this layout right here? I'm going to copy this layout, but using the Simple that we have over there. The one I showed you before. We'll go back to it. I want to copy that layout. All right. So it's got the two 4x6s. It's on a 12x12, but it's got 3 different pattern papers that are behind it. Now, I don't need Cricut to do that. I can do that myself, but what sizes do I want? It's also got a pattern paper, another pattern paper that goes across here, and then it's got things tucked in. It's got a tag tucked in up here, some journaling. I'm going to build all of that in my design space. And then I haven't cut paper that I've wasted. I'm going to cut it in there. So let me take you back into design space so we can play in there for a minute. All right. So the first thing we saw was that picture. I wonder if I can do this. Sorry, we'll just pretend. This is in the middle. I want these two guys to be together. So let me connect those two guys. And I'm going to align them, center, so they're in the right place. And then I'm going to group them. Now, why am I grouping them and not attaching them? I want them to stay together when I'm moving around on the design page, but I don't want them to cut on top of each other. So I just want to group them for right now. All right? So now these guys move together here, but if I send them over to the cut page, watch what happens. They're still going to cut out independently of each other. All right? That's the difference between group and attach. All right. So now we got these babies grouped. We're going to turn you back on. Now we're going to think about what does that picture look like. It has a piece of designer series paper that comes down right about here, our pattern paper. So I'm going to grab myself a shape. And I want it to be 12 inches high, but I don't want it 12 inches wide. So I want 12 inches high. And I'm going to guess 6. I don't know if that's right. And I'm going to bring that, and I wanted that to come in about there on my picture. So no, it's not wide enough. So I need to make it a little bit wider. Now I could have guessed and cut mine out at 6 inches and hoped it was right, but it wouldn't have been right. So I'm going to go with 8 because that just makes it easier to cut a nice even, and that's going to leave me with a 4. And I'm going to change its color so I can kind of see what it looks like. And I'm going to move this down so it's just above the blue layer. Okay? All right. Next, there was another layer of pattern paper over here. So I'm going to bring in another shape. And I'm going to make it 12 inches high, but not 12 inches wide. And I'm going to guess 2. I don't know if that's right, but I'm going to guess 2. So let's bring that over and see how that looks. And I think it's going to be okay, but let's make that a different color so we can see. And I'm going to move you down above the yellow. All right, so I kind of like that, but I feel like this should be just a little bit bigger. This one, just a little bit wider. All right, so how wide did I make that? I grabbed the wrong thing. I want it to be 3 inches. All right. So I'm going to say 3 by 12. Whoops. Stop that. 3 by 12, and it's you that I want to move over here. And then I'm going to take, you've heard me talk before about zip strips. Zip strips are the little pieces of paper that come on all the pattern paper. And they look like, hold on, I'm going to get you the camera so that you can see. The zip strip is this little piece at the top, That's this up here. So it's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/2 an inch. So let's come back over here and we're going to do one more rectangle in a shape. Now I don't need to cut this out because I'm going to use a zip strip, but I still want to see how's it looking. I want it to be 12 high. I don't want it 12 wide. I want it, I'm going to go 0.5. 1/2 an inch, not 1/4. And I'm going to bring you, and you're going to go right there. Okay, so far I'm happy. I need to change you to a different color. We're going to give it a darker blue. And we're going to slide you down just above there. Ooh, what happened? We don't want that to happen, Mr. Cricut. Thank you. Okay, so now my it's looking pretty close to what I just saw over there, right? But remember there was one more piece that went across here, but it didn't go quite all the way across. All right, one more rectangle. I'm going to take this orange that I have, melon, whatever that color is, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to just click duplicate, only I want it to go horizontal. I want it to go across, so I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I want that to come in here, but see, I don't want it quite that big. I think I want it like maybe 10. And then I'm going to move you under one more time, under the white. I keep hitting the color and changing the color. The only reason that's a problem is, remember, Cricut cuts by color, and I don't want it to cut by color. There. And I want you up here. No, I don't want you like that. I want you, and I want you up a little bit. So now I'm happy. My layout looks right. But now remember, I said I don't need to cut the 12s because I don't. I can cut those with my trimmer probably just as easy, but now I know what they are. So I'm going to take my pattern paper and my trimmer, and I'm going to cut these 4 pieces with just my trimmer. But I built it here so I could see it. The next thing I need is a title. Oh wait, I have digital artwork I can work with, right? So I'm going to go to upload. I'm going to go out to upload an image, and I'm going to look in the digital artwork and see which ones do I like. What is there for a title? If you look on that page I showed you on my blog, I showed you the other pictures, but there's this that you can print out. It won't show here in Design Space because it's not the right kind of file, but this shows you all the images so that you can kind of look at those if you want. But I am going to go with Smooth Sailing and bring that in. Ooh, that looks cool. And I'm going to say upload, and that's going to be my title. I'm going to click on you and bring you into the canvas. Now, notice when I bring that in, I can just slide you and you sit right in there, slick like it was made to go there, right? There's my title. Okay, but I want you to take a peek over here and see what it is that you've got going on. It is a gazillion little pieces. Look at them all. All the way down to here is Smooth Sailing. You can do it, but we can make this way easier. So let's think before we get too carried away. What are the things we actually need to cut? And let's turn off the things we don't need to cut. So we need to cut our simple, but we can move you out of the way. We're going to come over here. We're going to turn off you, and you, and you, and you, and you, because we're not cutting those out, right? We're only going to cut out this, which is our simple, and our title. We've already talked about the simple, so to keep it, well, simple, let's turn those off for a minute, because I want you to see what's going on with this. All right? Look at all those layers. Now, I don't want to make this bigger because I know the size is right, but I seriously don't know that I want to cut out. Let's just see what it looks like when I go to say make it. Okay, so there's my white letters. Then I have my shells. I have the detail part of my shell. I have sailing, which is really tiny. And then I have the base. So I have 5 pieces. Now, if you're somebody who loves building Cricut die cuts, you go for it, right? You can do that. If you're not a huge fan, let me show you another option. We like it. It's cool. But, I don't know, it just looks like a lot. I'm going to select, make sure all my layers are connected, everything that's there, and I'm going to come over here and say flatten. Cricut's going to turn that into a print, then cut. And now when I say make it, Cricut is going to send that title to my printer, and then it's just going to cut around it. Right? How simple. All right, let me show you one more way though. Let's undo the print then cut option. We're back to all the stuff. I'm going to select this everything here, and I'm going to give myself an offset. That's going to give you a little shadow layer. And I don't need it very big. And I'm going to say, okay, go ahead, Cricut, apply that. That's pretty cool, but I don't want black. I'm going to come up here and make it white. Now, if I flatten it right now, Cricut's going to cut out and leave that white trim around it, which I kind of like. But wait, I want one more. I'm going to click on this white. Click on the whole thing. And I'm going to say offset again. And Cricut's going to do a second offset. Takes it a minute. And I'm going to say apply. And let me show you why. All right, so let's take this offset and move it out of the way. All right, get it out of your way. Leave that down there. I'm going to select all of this. So remember, I did 2 offsets in here. I'm going to go say flatten. Cricut is going to print then cut that with that white offset. You don't see it right now, but it will be there. And then this, it's going to just plain ordinary cut. All right? All right, now one more thing. Let's come down here to where our simple was. Somehow I grouped you guys together. Let's ungroup you. All my moving around here. Let me get this out of the way. All right, I want to come back to my simple. My print then cut's good. I'm going to move you over. Here's my simple. And remember, this is going up here. Remember we had that before? I'm going to move you over. This is so that when where's my big square? When I lay this on my layout, I know where everything's going to go and I don't have to measure. Remember I told you I don't like measuring. Bring you in here. I'm going to say, yeah, that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to select that one and this one. That's the shadow layer to the simple. And I'm going to tell Cricut, I want you to weld those 2 together. Now, this, let's move you back. We need to tell it to move this back, send backwards. And where are you? Bring you all the way down to the square layer. Now I want you are going to go right here when I cut you out. You are going to print, then cut, and go right here. And now I have built my entire layout here in Design Space. I turned off the other ones that I'm going to cut by hand, but I can turn them back on so you can see them. But I'm going to cut these with my trimmer. And my whole layout is built. That is going to show, it's just under it for some reason. okay? So that's where the digital artwork comes into play. So again, let's turn off these weird things that we're not cutting. We're going to do this with our trimmer because it's not worth it. You could, but it would be, you'd have to make them a little smaller. This is all we need to cut. So let's see what this looks like. We go to make it. There's our print then cut, right? That's going to go to my printer. I'm going to print it, bring it back, put it on my Cricut mat, and it's going to cut it out. Then I'm going to go and load this layer, which is my white top layer for my photos, and then this layer, which is going to tell me where to put my title and where to put my photos. So I've designed my entire page here in Design Space. I won't cut anything out wrong. I will have all my sizes ready to go, and I can put my layout together. I'm going to do this later, and I will show it to you tomorrow because I don't want to keep you while the Cricut does its cutting. But it really is very easy to use all of the tools in Design Space to make this work for you. Now, what if you don't want to be bothered with the layout part? What if you just wanted a title? You could do that. You could just bring in your title, go ahead and do print then cut, and pop it on your page anywhere you want. You could say upload. You could upload a different image. There's another title in here. There's actually a card that's kind of cool that you could take away, you could take apart. It's a Sail Away With Me card. Let's do that. And bring that in. And you could say, you know, I like all of it, but I don't want it to be a card. I want it to go on my scrapbook layout. All right, so now we're going to play with, again, look at all these pieces. No, thank you. I don't want to do all that. So I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to ungroup you. Move you over. That's my card base. This is my score line. So if I were actually going to do this card, I would need to tell Cricut, that's a score line, buddy. So I don't want you to cut this because it's going to cut it right in half. So I need to tell Cricut, holy moly, don't cut that. I want you to score that. Okay, great. Well, now I got to tell it where to score it. Move you out of the way. Let's bring you back. I want to make sure I'm right in the middle of my card. So I'm going to select the card and the score line. And I'm going to come up to arrange. I'm sorry, align. I knew it was an A word. And I'm going to tell it center vertically. Now it's going to make sure that my score line is right in the middle. Remember, we used this before. I'm going to select both of them. And I'm going to tell Cricut, attach it. I want you to score right there when you send it to the cut screen. I want you to be sure that you do that. All right, so there's my card. I don't know whether I want the card or not, but I got it. All right, what else do I have? I have the cute sailboat. I have this backing, which is kind of cool with like the rope design cut out of it. I have this title, come on, with all those pieces. I went too fast. But I like all those pieces, but I don't want to cut out and glue those letters down and all these itty bitty little pieces. I don't wanna. So I'm going to select all of you. I'm going to flatten you. Now you're going to be a print then cut. I'm going to offset you. Again, I never like it as big as it defaults to. I always shrink it down a little. And I could do a sharp corners, or I can do rounded. Say apply. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. See what it does? It's going to cut you. It's going to cut out all the detail on that sailboat, which is going to be tricky for it. And if it stays small, I might not want that. I might want to do an offset and print then cut that too, which I could. The easiest way to do that would be offset, keep it small, say apply, and notice it kind of fills in where those lines are. So it's going to print that instead of cutting those itty bitty little riggings, which would have been a bear to make sure they didn't rip or what have you, because it's kind of small. If you think about a card size, this is 2 by 3. So those lines are going to be minuscule. It would work if you cut it out of vinyl, but it would be really tricky out of any paper. So now I'm going to select the whole, do I want that outline to be black? Well, I kept this black. So I'm going to say flatten. This time I flattened it with the outline. So watch what happens when I tell Cricut go ahead and make it. It's going to bring it over here. My 2 print then cuts are going to be a little bit different. Oh, I still have smooth sailing there. But see, it's got this background and this, and then it's got this one. If I wanted the black attached to this, I would have to flatten it with it. Let me show you. I'm not just talking random talk here. If I wanted this to be together with the outline, the offset, I would select the whole shebang and I would flatten it. And now, when I tell Cricut make it, it's gonna come on over here. I still have my title. But notice now I just have everything's gonna be on one print then cut. And it's going to go ahead and cut it all out just the way you see it. Then it's got the card with the score line attached. Then it's got the other pieces that we had from before. So our card ends up being really simple. Got it? Right, that's a lot. When you're playing with this, go back and watch it again, and you will see that print then cut will be your very best friend with digital art. What do I print on? I get simple 8.5 by 11 white cardstock from Walmart. I'll put the link in later for you so that you'll have it in the description. But it's really easy. Or Amazon has it, any of the 8.5 by 11, and make sure that your printer can handle it. I have to feed mine one at a time. I can't put a whole stack in, but it can do it. I am using a Canon desktop ink printer, not expensive, a really inexpensive printer. But it can handle one piece at a time. Okay? All right. Well, happy scrapbooking, guys, and I'm glad to be back. I will see you all again soon. Bye.